Ronin Pro Wrestling in South Florida. We're at Broward College South Gym in Pembroke Pines, not far from Fort Lauderdale. I've got one of the guys that tore it up tonight, big tag match, Dezmond Xavier. Tell us about your Ronin experience. You and Zachary Wentz, tag partner, which is Scarlet Graves, up against Tech.
Yes.
One of the Ronin originals here. What was the Ronin experience like for you guys?
Well, this is actually a return for me. I was originally at Ronin 7, I believe, and I was a part of a four-way match with Johnny Knockout, Aaron Epic, and Kiko Harris. And in that match was my debut here, and then tonight was a return with the debut of my tag partner Zachary Wentz, and it was awesome. I love Ronin. The crowd is very unique. They have a certain vibe to them that is just indescribable, and I love every single moment of it.
Dezmond, tell us how you got your start.
I got my start out in Maryland at Gilbert's Pro Wrestling Academy. And from there I started working with MCW, and then I moved back home to Ohio. And I continued working with MCW for a little bit until travel just became a little bit more difficult. And started doing some local promotions with 1CW, who is now gone, and then Rockstar Pro, where my career completely had a resurgence and it exploded to what we have today, which is amazing. I'm having a great time.
You're an Ohio guy.
I am. Dayton, Ohio, born and bred.
There's so many wrestlers who have come through Dayton.
Yes.
What, in Ohio, I should say from Ohio area, that state. Is it some in the water?
Honestly, I think it's just the way Ohio is. It has so many different walks of life. People come from all over to the Midwest for some reason. I think it's just you have a blend of so many different cultures that it just feels like home, no matter what kind of lifestyle that you may come from. And it's the same way with wrestling. We like to incorporate different styles. We don't like to limit ourselves to just one type of match that we can have, or a certain style match that we would like to have. We like to be well versatile, and I believe that that's what wrestling is becoming now. You have to be more of a hybrid wrestler instead of something that's strictly in a certain genre, I should say. But more so picking elements and being a jack of all trades, and of course being very strong in one specific area. But diving into every other thing so that you can be a little bit more unique.
Does Dezmond Xavier have a favorite wrestler from Ohio who is not Dezmond Xavier?
Oh, of course. Dezmond Xavier's favorite Ohio wrestler that is not Dezmond Xavier is Zachary Wentz. That's the reason why we're tagging together, because he's amazing. So I love watching him work. When I'm standing on the apron, if I'm not hoping to get in there to wreak havoc on somebody that may be hurting him, I'm definitely just enjoying the amazing things that he does out there in the ring.
Has Dezmond Xavier been following the Cavs, and what do you think is going to happen here?
I believe that the Cavs are going to make their way back, and just like last year, they will make the Warriors blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. They will. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Mark my words. And when it happens, you're going to look back at this video and say Dezmond Xavier is making amazing prophecies out here.
Being from Ohio, what was that like when Cleveland won it all last year?
It was amazing. I was sitting in my living room watching it live, and as the clock hit 0, it was amazing to finally have another championship in Ohio. I'm also a Cleveland Browns fan, so I have been raised on a lot of disappointment.
You're suffering, man.
Yes,
You're suffering.
So even though I did not live in Cleveland, my heart's in Cleveland. So to finally see a championship come to the city that I was born and raised on, it felt like it happened in my own city.
Dezmond, tell us about your military background.
I served 6 years in the United States Air Force.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, very welcome. I was able to travel the world with that. I was stationed for 2 years in Aviano, Italy, and I spent my last remaining 4 years where I actually started doing my training at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. So I was able to do some amazing things and meet some amazing people that are still friends to me today, and I'm very blessed to have been able to have the time to spend in the military.
How did you get from the military into pro wrestling?
As I said, I was stationed out in Andrews, out in Maryland, and in Severn, Maryland, U.S.Air Force Pro Wrestling Academy had opened up. And while I was deployed, I got wind of this from one of my friends, and once I came back from my deployment, I shot directly over there to check out the school.
Was it something you always wanted to do?
It definitely was. Art is my first love. I like to do animations, 2D art, portraits, and things like that in my spare time. I actually went to school for it as well once I got out of the military. And but at the same time, deep down, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. It's an amazing thing to be able to interact with not only an opponent but also a crowd that's live, and also a crowd that is watching it live somewhere else that is not in there, and still feel that energy from the people, from everything that you're doing in there. It's an amazing feeling to have.
When you were done with the military, you got involved in pro wrestling, and here you are doing your thing, and all of a sudden this opportunity comes up now for Impact Wrestling. So tell us how the opportunity came up for you and what's going on with you in Impact Wrestling. I
am signed to Impact Wrestling, and I'm a part of the X Division. And Jeff Jarrett came in and wanted to make Impact great again. And in that process, he decided to revitalize a lot of different areas, and one was the X Division. And I was presented an opportunity for a tryout match through my friend Moose, and from there, talks back and forth, and once it finally came time for there to be a chance for me to come in and showcase what I can do and what I can contribute to the X Division, they called me in, and I did my best to showcase what I can do. But there's definitely a lot more that I'm planning on dropping to make sure that I can get that X Division title as well.
What's it like being a part of that and knowing that they're on Pop TV and just big, better, growing things are happening there?
It's amazing, and to be a part of the process of making Impact great again is definitely something that I hold dear to my heart, because Impact Wrestling was something that I really got into while I was in my high school days. Seeing wrestlers like AJ Styles and Low-Ki and Jerry Lynn and all those guys showcasing what they could do, and being a smaller guy blew my mind. And I wanted to be a part of that. I even looked into going to the Impact Wrestling's training school once I got out of high school, but things didn't really work out, and that's why I went on the route of the military.
I noticed the tattoos.
Yes.
All right.
I have a lot of them.
Is there anything here I want to get a shot at? Some of the tattoo art, the artwork here. Being an artist.
Yeah, most of these were actually drawn by myself. There are some that I wouldn't say that I regret, but there are some that have a story to them that I still hold dear, no matter how bad the tattoo may be.
They're personal.
Yes,
some of the tattoos you have are personal and things like that. So, art-wise, what would you like to do? You're doing your pro wrestling, that's one art. What would you like to do with your art? Outside of pro wrestling?
I've always wanted to be a comic book artist. That was something that I've really enjoyed growing up, was reading comics. More of a DC person. I'm a huge Batman fan, as most people are, but deep down I'm a real huge Nightwing fan, who's Robin, who grew up.
Have you met Michael Kingston of the comic book Headlocked? He works with a lot of wrestlers, and he actually has a comic book series through Headlock, which is not just a wrestling story. It's a wrestler, but it's also a story. You got to check it out. And he does a lot of Comic Cons. Michael Kingston does. Okay. Jerry Lawler's worked with him. Christopher Daniels has worked with him. Kazarian's worked with him. Rob Van Dam has worked with him. CM Punk has worked. There's so many that have worked with him with their artwork in their comics. So that's something to check out. For you, though, social media, where do people go to check things out for you?
It's really easy to find me on social media because I'm the only one that spells my name the way that I do. It's spelled D-E-Z-Z-M-O-N-D. Xavier, X-A-V-I-E-R. You can type it in on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and that's how you find me.
Now, I'll let you go on this one. Thank you so much for the time. Is it Lima, Ohio, or Lima, Ohio?
Lima, Ohio is where Zach's from. I'm from Dayton.
All right, but the reason I bring that up is, so now Zach may be the best wrestler from there rather than Al Snow.
It kind of just depends on who you talk to.
Thank you, Desmond.
Thank you.